Hey, so last week I dropped a video called Gamers 1, where I talked about something super important, the Stop Killing Games initiative. If you missed it, here's the deal. This initiative is all about stopping publishers from shutting down online multiplayer games and leaving them unplayable. I mean, imagine pouring hours into a game only to have it vanish because the servers got shut down. That's what this initiative is fighting against. There's actually a proposed law in the EU that would make sure publishers have to keep their games playable, even if the servers go dark. It's a big deal for preserving games and protecting our rights as gamers. We paid for these games, right? We should be able to play them whenever we want. Now, here's the awesome news. Since I posted that video, the petition backing this law has exploded from 50,000 signatures to 233,480. That's huge, and it really shows how powerful our gaming community can be when we all come together. But we're not done yet. There's still more work to do to hit that 1 million mark, so let's keep pushing. Honestly, this is going even better than I expected. And if you're sitting there wondering how legit this is, well, let me just tell you, it's as legit as it gets. Straight from the website itself, video games are being destroyed. Most video games work indefinitely, but a growing number are designed to stop working as soon as publishers end support. This effectively robs customers, destroys games as an art form, and is unnecessary. This movement is pushing to pass a new law in the EU that would put an end to this nonsense. The proposal would make sure that games sold must remain in a working state even after support ends. No more forced connections to the publisher after they've moved on. And all of this without messing with how games are run while they're still supported. So if you're an EU citizen, this is your chance to really make a difference. Sign the Citizens Initiative and let's keep this momentum going. But you might be wondering, what about USA? Guys, if these laws pass in the EU, devs will not be able to make one version of the game for EU law and another for USA. Think of it like a snowball effect. And think of it like this is just the beginning. What comes after this? Physical media will probably come back. Even though corporations push for all digital world and subscription services, we, the gamers, are actually making a change and pushing back. We, the gamers, are affecting the stock market and making the shareholders lose billions. Keep the fight alive. Have you noticed how 2023 felt like the end for a bunch of multiplayer games? It seems like once a game goes live, it barely survives a year. I mean, why drop money on battle passes or character skins when the servers shut down so quickly? It's frustrating to see developers abandon these projects almost as soon as they launch. It makes you wonder, why even start these games if they're just going to fizzle out? Take Apex Legends Mobile, for instance. It launched on May 17, 2022, but was shut down by May 2023. EA said the game had a strong start but quickly lost traction. Mobile gaming is booming, so why didn't they stick with it? They didn't want to keep a dedicated team on it and just shifted focus back to the PC version. If you're not going to support a game you just released, why release it at all? Then there's Gundam Evolution from Bandai Namco, which tried to be the next Overwatch but didn't make it past November 2023. Just over a year after its September 2022 launch, they announced some updates but then decided it wasn't worth the effort. Gundam has tons of content to build on, so it's a shame they didn't try harder to keep it alive. Vampire: The Masquerade Blood Hunt, a free-to-play battle royale, left early access in April 2022, but never found the success needed to keep going. The servers will stay up until the player base dwindles, but why keep playing a game that's been abandoned? Rumbleverse, another free-to-play battle royale, launched on August 11, 2022, and was gone by February 2023. It aimed to rival Fortnite but fell short due to a lack of engaging game modes and players. It's like every new live service game just tries to copy the success of others without adding anything new. And don't forget Multiversus, which launched on July 19, 2022, and shut down in April 2023. It was supposed to be like Super Smash Bros., but with Warner Bros. Characters. They say it's coming back in early 2024, but after all these quick shutdowns, it's hard to be optimistic. It's so annoying to see these games come and go so quickly. Developers need to stop copying each other and start being more innovative. If they're not going to put in the effort to make their games last, it's just a waste of time and money. If you're fed up with this, maybe it's time to go back to single-player games that don't need a constant internet connection and just enjoy yourself. The launch of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League has turned into a massive fiasco for Warner Bros. Discovery. resulting in a $200 million loss for their video game division. Here's a breakdown of what went wrong, according to a new Bloomberg report. The issues started early on. Rocksteady, the UK-based studio known for its single-player hits like Batman, Arkham Knight, was tasked with creating a multiplayer game for the first time in 2016. Many new employees at Rocksteady didn't even know they were working on a multiplayer title, leading to a wave of departures. Development was plagued by frequent changes in direction. The studio shifted focus from melee combat to heavy gunplay, and struggled to make the game's battles, levels, and bosses feel fresh and engaging. Key challenges for live service games where repetition quickly kill player interest. Further complications arose when Rocksteady co-founders Sefton Hill and Jamie Walker left the studio in 2022. With these setbacks, the game's release was delayed until early this year, and the results were disappointing. Warner Bros. Discovery revealed the $200 million loss during their earnings call in May, with CEO David Zaslav expressing disappointment in the game's performance. The broader gaming industry is under financial strain, with many studios facing layoffs. Rocksteady's attempt to secure ongoing revenue through live service games like Suicide Squad backfired, and now they're pivoting to other projects. They're working on a director's cut of Hogwarts Legacy and may start on a new single-player game. Last month, as I was mulling over who Concord was actually for, it seemed clear that its influences and tone felt outdated. The target audience had already invested their time and money in other live service shooters. Now that the open beta is here, the answer is pretty disheartening. Concord is for no one, or at least for a mere 2,363 people, which was its peak player count on Steam. In comparison, Throne and Liberty hit 58,000 during its open beta, and even Payday 3 managed 35,000. Concord's numbers are disappointing, though it's worth noting more people might be playing on consoles, where it also competes with Throne and Liberty. The market is simply too crowded for Concord. Games journalists don't relish seeing a game fail, but I have to admit, there's a part of me that isn't too upset. If I had to choose a AAA game to flop, it would be the generic online shooter every time. It feels like Sony, once known for innovation and groundbreaking experiences, has settled into churning live service cash grabs, chasing trends that are already past their prime. Concord isn't unique. It's just another clone in a sea of similar games, and many of those have already failed. The "it's like Halo and Destiny" pitch doesn't really sell it, especially when Halo itself struggled in the live service arena. And if you're into Destiny, you're already playing Destiny, not looking for a game that's just a copycat. The numbers make it clear that Concord is unlikely to succeed. There's always a tendency to focus on the positives, but from the moment it was revealed, it seemed clear this game was on a path to failure. The live service genre is overcrowded, and the successful games are already established. Single-player games shine when it comes to creating deep, immersive worlds and compelling narratives. Without the need to balance mechanics for multiplayer or compete against others, these games can focus on delivering a rich, cinematic experience. Players get to dive into intricate stories and explore detailed environments that captivate their attention. Online gaming communities can sometimes be plagued by toxic behavior, with players engaging in aggression or unsportsmanlike conduct. Single-player games completely sidestep this issue, letting players enjoy their experience without dealing with negativity or harassment from others. As life gets busier and coordinating multiplayer sessions with friends becomes harder, single-player games offer a more flexible and accessible option. Players can enjoy their games at their own pace, without needing to align schedules with others. Some gamers prefer the challenge and predictability of AI opponents, rather than facing the unpredictability of human players online. While AI might be easier to beat in the long run, it offers a different type of engagement that can be just as satisfying as multiplayer competition. Live service games often depend on microtransactions and repetitive grinding to keep players hooked. Games generally avoid these monetization tactics, providing a more focused and self-contained experience without constant calls to spend more money. In the end, both single-player and multiplayer games have their strengths. However, for many gamers, the immersive storytelling, freedom from toxicity, and convenience of single-player experiences make them the top choice over live service games. So, you know how live service games have become a huge trend lately? They're supposed to offer endless content, cool social features, and a steady stream of updates. But honestly, this model is starting to hurt gaming, especially single-player games. Here's why. 1. The microtransaction mess. One of the biggest issues with live service games is the explosion of microtransactions. microtransactions. What used to be a rare thing has now become a core part of many of these games. Players are constantly pushed to spend extra money on things like cosmetics, battle passes, and even gameplay boosts. It's like a pay-to-win system that ruins the fun and fairness. Take games like FIFA Ultimate Team or Fortnite. If you're willing to spend more money, you can get powerful items or characters that give you an unfair edge over those who don't spend extra. It creates a split where the game isn't about skill anymore, it's about who can spend the most. 2. Single-player games. Losing their charm. Another big problem is how live service games are invading single-player territory. Some of our favorite single-player games like Assassin's Creed or Fallout are being forced into this live service mold. This messes with what made them great. Things like deep storytelling, character development, and immersive experiences. When they start adding online features or multiplayer components, it breaks the flow and takes away from the whole single-player vibe. Single-player games should stay as they are, complete experiences that you can enjoy without constant updates or multiplayer nonsense. 3. Not owning your games anymore. In the past, when you bought a game, it was yours. You could play it anytime, and it wouldn't just disappear. But with live service games, you're more like renting the game. The content doled out over time, and you need to stay online to access it. And if the game's servers shut down, like what happened with Anthem or Lawbreakers, the game could vanish completely. It's a huge bummer that you're basically losing your game if it's no longer profitable. 4. Quantity over quality. Live service games are always trying to pump out new content to keep players hooked. This means they often focus on churning out stuff quickly rather than making sure it's top-notch. Developers get pushed to their limits, leading to rushed and less polished updates. Meanwhile, single-player games usually go through a more thorough development process, aiming to deliver a well-rounded, complete experience at launch. The constant push for new content can also lead to burnout for both the creators and players. 5. Time for a change. All these issues make it clear that the live service model isn't doing gaming any favors. We need to appreciate and push for complete, self-contained games that respect our time and money. Single-player games should remain true to their roots, free from the demands of live service. As players, we should stand up for the core values of gaming and resist trends that threaten to undermine what makes games so great. Black Myth has officially gone gold and is set to release on August 20th. The action RPG has already garnered a lot of positive buzz from fans, and it's shaping up to be a potential Game of the Year contender. What sets Wukong apart from your typical Souls-like is its approach to gameplay. Instead of sticking strictly to the Souls formula, the developers have crafted an experience that leans more towards the style of God of War. This shift in direction has caught the attention of David Jaffe, the creator of God of War, who has been very complimentary about the game's final trailer. Here's why this is significant. For a game from a relatively unknown developer to earn praise from a veteran like Jaffe is a major achievement. Jaffe has been impressed with the visuals and animations of Black Myth, highlighting the game's exceptional presentation. His admiration extends to the monster designs, with him comparing them favorably to the work of From Software. Jaffe's excitement about the game's world and its design elements suggests that the game has more to offer than just intense boss battles. With such high praise from a seasoned industry veteran,